I'm sure there's a couple in there, but
Germany, I think, wasn't.
we did them a little bit, but
Yeah, they're not so funny.
To him, you know, to me. No, the Prussia, Austrian Prussia, whatever. Prussia.
The Ottoman Empire, a whole empire based on putting your feet up, didn't seem really worth it.
Let's talk about the like Socrates and the last words Socrates really clever.
Right. I know now that I know nothing.
Right.
And then how passive-aggressive that is. All the philosophers are left alive. And it's like it's all bullshit, you know, and don't worry about it. They have to make a living and go, oh my God, you know. Damage control.
All the other philosophers are left holding the bag.
Yeah.
So what do you want people to take away from the play?
History repeats itself. I think we just, well, we started out just saying, it's just, you know, it's like a joke or a history, but really it became almost like, hey, that really could have been the way it felt. You know? So it's kind of like just interesting, like another take on history.
Right.
Oh, I mean, there were a couple of themes that we tried to bring out in the show. One is this idea of elements of fallen empires existing today, and the other is that empires, like people, continue to do something after it stops working. That we see that in our lives of friends and our own, and you could see it in empires that they, like, the Romans couldn't stop conquering, even though that was what was destroying them.
Right.
And so that really, to me, became a funny but an interesting theme of not being able to change what you do.
Was that thing where you were talking about people dressing a certain way, whatever their best year was?
Right, I do this bit in my act that all men dress in the style of the last good year of their lives. Whatever people were wearing at that point, we just freeze that moment in clothing history and ride it to the end. And, you know, and countries do that too. Like, we thought, well, you know, what do? Well, we attack, and other countries, when we attack Iraq, we used to do that. That used to work, you know, so let's do that again. But it didn't work.
We're going to also at some point take questions from the audience, so if anybody has some questions, you can actually just raise your hand. We'll sort of incorporate it into the any questions right now. Yeah.
In the press release it talks about Colin's articulate brand of comedy. Talk to us about that and how that resonates with audiences.
You want me to talk about it or one of them? It'll look bad if I talk about my articulate brand of comedy. If they say it and I just sit here going, no, it's just stand-up. I like the humble part.
Well, Jerry, you've been following this comedy for a long time.
I was thinking the other day we were talking about it and why we worked well together in this, and I came up with that I'm very smart about being funny, and he's very funny about being smart. He's really a smart guy that figured out how to be funny, and I know I'm smart about taking funny and figuring out how to kind of pace it and organize it. So it was a good blend of skills.
Would you ever want to do a Broadway show, Jerry?
No. I'm doing this one.
What did you like about being on Broadway, Colin, before?
I don't know.
Or didn't like?
I do like it because the audiences are well behaved.
Yeah.
Sometimes the comedy clubs, they're nuts, you know, they're drunk and they're just coming in. Not that obviously there were drunk girls at the last show, but they were trying to go to puppetry of the penis, like I said. But I like Broadway because everybody's, you know, dressed up. It's exciting, you know what I mean? It's exciting.
Does anyone heckle you on Broadway?
No, very rarely. I mean, it's happened, but very rarely. Like I've had people go, "Go, Colin." Of course, the last show we did off Broadway, and in the middle of the show, doing these segue moment parts, somebody's going, "Go, Colin, go, Colin." And I go, "It's not a Jets game, like the guy goes, Jets, 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 Jets." Starts yelling it. Of course, after the show, my cousins. So I'm sure there'll be a Broadway show. Support me.
Maybe you should have a special friends and family night. Get it over with all.
But I'm excited too because it's right across the street from Al Pacino. So.
Maybe you guys will have drinks after.
Sure, he's not too excited about that. He's his asshole.
Anyone else? Yeah.
In stand-up, it's very important to warm up the crowd. Do you do that with your show?
Yeah, Jerry's going to do a 20-minute. Well, there's no warm-up for this.
Right, obviously, but so how is that different?
Well, we just wait for that first laugh, just like anything else. Just wait for the icebreaker. So is the audience just sitting there like this. And you just laugh, like, okay, good.
Do you have any superstitions about, a lot of people on Broadway have superstitions before going to a play or something? Is there anything you do?
Me?
Yeah.
No. I'm not Elaine Stritch. I'm just. Well, I'm probably sure I have some. I mean, I'm not David Sedaris, touching people on the back of the head.
Let's talk about something that happened backstage. Yeah.
Why this verse?
By the way, are you like multimedia?
I am.
You got
I know, he's
computer
got it all.
and,
I got pretty much everything going on.
wow. All right.
Why this verse say like an HBO special?
What was that?
Why, did this
Why
run?
like off Broadway and Broadway verse an HBO special?
Well, I mean, you got to run it somewhere, and you have an answer for that?
I don't even know if we're. Can we talk about that? I don't know.
Sounds
There
like
might be an HBO special at some point, but it's fun, because we're comedians. It's like we don't want to just make a movie and then you're done with it. What we enjoy is we've rewritten this thing 100 times, and you just keep throwing in jokes and changing stuff, and the show will be changing throughout the run. So that's really fun for us, is to put it in front of a live audience and have a run of shows where you play with the structure of the material.
So you can see it changing on any given night.
Yeah.
So it's interesting as comedians. You guys actually like the process.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we don't want it to end. At some point it'll end, but it's fun to keep playing with it. It's like a car that you want to keep tuning it.
Because then if it's an HBO special, then you got to write a new one. Because now everybody saw it.
Yeah.
It's like giving a college commencement speech. Once you've given it, you can't really repeat it. Especially now because everyone's recording them.
Right.
How do you guys actually work together? What's the process like?
Well, we sit together in a room. We have coffee and sandwiches, and we
Do you
go.
prepare
That
those
joke
first?
doesn't work. Can we think? Let's try and think of one that does work.
That's it.
That's it. Yeah, you just sit there and you stare at each other and you try and think of a joke. But we have an area. For example, we're talking about Germany. We haven't really talked much about, the German empire. It wasn't really an empire. It was too short to be an empire, wasn't it? That was just like a really successful, aggressive, attack on civilization. But it was short.
So it was a
4
one-off.
years is not an empire.
Right.
You got to go a little longer to be an empire. He really wanted it to just be about empires.
Okay. Germany certainly had aspirations for empire, but
Yeah, but they didn't make it.
Any other
This is only the empires that made it. Where do we meet? Comedy clubs in the 80s in New York?
Is that what your dress circa?
Yep.
Or your sleeves were probably rolled up?
No, I didn't do that. Even then, I knew that was wrong. I saw Jay Leno doing it, and I knew it was wrong.
Jerry, I heard you say, obviously you're a pretty successful comedian, and I've heard you say that you like the idea of sort of helping a friend like Colin and sort of building him up and maybe, helping launch his career even bigger than it is. Was that sort of a big driving force for you in getting involved?
Yeah, he's got this huge talent, and it's a missing talent. There really is very little performance comedy that works on his intellectual level. So, he's one of these guys that could do it, and it just needed a form. And I kind of challenged him to come up with a form, and he did, and then once he did, I was kind of stuck getting involved with it. But that is how it started, is I said to him, you should do something, where you can talk about some of these ideas, and you got to just come up with a container. And that's what he did.
And how helpful was that for you, Colin? Did you feel like you needed him?
Of course, are you kidding me? Right now, I've been doing this I started doing this in clubs, and then they get it. They'll stay with you for about 30 minutes. Then they're like, all right, come on. Can somebody talk about the lower half of the body, please? We get it. You're smart.
Any other questions? Yeah.
What Broadway shows have you seen? What was the first Broadway show you saw, and what are you hoping to see this season?
What were we hoping, what?
What else?
See,
were you
hoping
hoping
to
to
see
see?
What we're hoping to see this season.
Other than
Can you
that.
help us with tickets? Is that what- The first Broadway show you ever saw? I think my parents probably schlepped me to Fiddler on the Roof. But that really is not related to this at all.
How about the fact that his parents schlepped him? Me and my family stumbled over to an Irish play. We saw I forget, I saw that, what was that play? I can't remember the name. But I saw a chorus line, hello. And I saw, there was a big Irish play, Milo O'Shea, that was a big actor at Broadway back in the day. What was it called?
Mass Appeal.
Yeah, Mass
I
Appeal,
remember
thank
Mass
you.
Appeal, I saw that.
Mass Appeal.
Yeah.
Before my time.
I played
Thank God.
Shalom Aleichem in the 10th grade Dalton School production of the life story of Shalom Aleichem.
Did you really?
Why they cast the only non-Jew in Dalton as Shalom Aleichem. And in the front row, two grandmothers of somebody in the cast, in the middle, like after the 5 minutes, one turned to the other and said, like, they couldn't find a Jew to play Shalom Aleichem. I digress, though.
Upper East Side.
Yeah. Yep.
You just said a few moments ago, history repeats itself, and that's what we say a lot, I hear a lot in the news. With all this stuff going on politically, do you guys have a goal or to educate and to get people motivated to do something at the voting booths, or is it just pure comedy here?
I don't, I mean, I feel like, I feel like every empire, I mean, it's not just like, I don't feel like there's a solution. I feel like every empire falls, just like, not like there's a solution to every empire. Going to the vote, I shouldn't say going to the voting booths is not a solution, but I am saying it. But I mean, I just feel like it's just the nature of man, like this show is sort of about just how human nature just steps in every time and ruins everything.
It's really more about handling success. I mean, the fall of empires is about the inability of people to handle success, and you could look at that on a national level or as individuals. Most individuals don't handle success well, and why, and what trips them up. It's usually 3 or 4 different things, but it's the same things over and over.
Were you close to making this a musical? Anyone else?
Crack some soft moves won't come.
There was music. There's music in the show.
Oh yeah, there's
But
music.
there's no dancing.
No.
We mentioned your upbringing. Now, Wikipedia might not be the most accurate resource. You were raised by parents who were teachers, right?
Right.
Did that have like an influence on your obvious interest in history, or was there another interest?
First of all, I don't like the fact you just Wikipedia'd from me. Second of all, I don't like the fact that you got 2 questions. And some people get any. Third of all, I don't like the fact that you're 17. But yeah, it definitely has a lot of effect on me. In answer to the question, yes, I do feel like it has a lot of my appeal to that kind of, I like comedy to be a little, not highbrow. It's not like it's highbrow humor. Anybody can get it. I mean, we're making it into some arcane, obscure show, but it's really, just accessible.
We have time for a couple more questions.
Yep.
You got an understudy?
It's the only night they'll be happy the understudy goes on. Colin will be put by Jerry's on.
Reading a teleprompter.
Over?
Sure.
Do you think you could grill Colin for a few minutes about his lackluster response to Katrina?
He's got it. That's his
Right,
job.
okay.
I had a real
Second.
question though. I
Yeah.
was wondering how long.
You see how tough it is, by the way? I totally feel for you.
Sorry, my mind was elsewhere. So
Is it a theme you've been developing for a while? Like since you started comedy, this is something you've kind of seen a decline happening in America, or is it something that's been more recent for you?
No, it's always, comedy's like one of those things where you're always kind of playing around. Like I was playing around all the time with historical comedy stuff. And then just, this is a good thing we started talking about, just the fall of empires and how right after, our lack of, being I always thought it was like a cliche that everything's an empire and then it falls, but when you start looking into it, it is kind of interesting. And like you're saying, you go on Wikipedia, Google, it's just so much easier to find information. You're like, hey, what happened with that empire? You don't have to go to the library for 8 hours, just Google it.
I think there's one more. Yeah.
Yeah, we've got a question from the live chat on the web stream.
Whoa, you're freaking me out.
Well, 2 questions. One, do you mention North Korea and its empire and modern dynasty, or do you mention the Galactic Empire at all?
You're asking the wrong guy about the Galactic Empire. I don't know anything about it.
What's the Galactic Empire?
Star Wars.
Oh boy. How could that have come through the internet?
It's just the loyalty to it is what amazes me.
Yeah, there's some reference to North Korea.
Yeah.
All right, thanks very much.
Thanks very much, everyone. Appreciate it.
Thank you.